All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip. And for today's real estate tip, I'm going to be doing a knowledge round where I answer your question and or questions here on the podcast. All right, so today's podcast comes from Bennett Boyer. I'm just going to jump in, read into it. We are going to jump on into answering his question here. So it says, hey, Joshua, this is Bennett. I'm a podcast listener from your market. So first off, truly appreciate you being a listener and watcher of the GSD Mode podcast. So you're here in my market in the Verado community in Buckeye in the West Valley. And here is Bennett's question. What software or programs do you use to keep homeowners updated on the overall market and more specifically the value of their home? And what is your long-term follow-up plan for a homeowner, but for one who's not looking to sell until further down the road? In other words, how do you remain top of mind without being pushy or salesy? And then he goes on to say, I ask this because I have a lot of leads in my database that match this description. Some are paid leads, others are organic leads, part of my sphere. Most of these people are thinking about a move in the future, but will have a home to sell when they do so. I do not care for the instant valuation. And he names his systems in there. I'm not going to name those because I don't want to throw any systems under the bus here. I don't think it gives accurate valuations, and it sometimes can get the facts of the house wrong, which reflects badly on me. I want to make sure they're getting accurate information without doing a CMA every month for every one of those leads. So great question, and I do have a solution that I'm going to walk you through with this. So we're going to break this down and go in depth with this. Now, real quick, before I break this down and go into this, for any of you that are watching and listening, make sure to go check out GSDMode.com for more free training, for more free resources. Make sure to go on there. If you go to the free training, free resources tab, you can see my ebook on there. Snag that, 42 top tips, written by me personally to help you continue to grow your business. If you love these real estate tips, you're going to love that. Also, check out my online masterclass on there. Okay, so let's jump back into the question at hand. So when you're getting these leads, a few things here, because we all know that fortune is in the follow-up. But again, these are people that aren't looking to go out there and sell instantaneously. So what I do is I chunk it down with my follow-up, based on timelines, based on expectations. And when it's a brand new online lead, so let's just say it's a seller online lead that comes in to get a CMA. Okay, they're instantaneously going to get an autoresponder email and autoresponder text that I have set up in my Perfect Storm CRM. So autoresponder email, autoresponder text, so that boom, instant reach out. Then from there, I have the system task me to go out there and send the CMA. Just like you, I am not a fan of these auto-generated CMAs, and for a couple different reasons. I mean, number one, and this isn't the primary reason as to why, so this isn't in an order, but number one, okay, people they have Zillow, they have Zestimates, they can go out there and get that instantaneously. Like people have more tools and are more savvy than ever before, where they can go get that shit. If they want an inaccurate, instant, valuation report on their property, they're going to go out there and get those in different ways, right? So how I differentiate myself is I deliver to them an actual written in-depth, a full CMA that I've actually went out there and handpicked the properties. So it's going to be the most accurate it possibly can without me, of course, visiting the property. Then from there, so I'm going to go, task me to go run that report, and I try to get that report to them within 24 to 48 hours, and my messaging lets them know that. Also lets them know that this is going to be an accurate CMA. However, for the most accurate CMA, if accuracy is what's most important to them, then I would need to get into the property. So I'm going to give them a range on this CMA, but it's going to be a hell of a lot more accurate than some instant valuation. Because again, these are handpicked, right? So we all get that, we all understand that. Then from there, I automatically have them go on my 1,000-day email text strip. And then I'm aggressive with my calls, right? So with my phone calls, okay, I'm going to call them immediately when that lead comes in to thank them for their submission. And then I just have a series of follow-up questions that I ask them to make sure to have that accurate data. And hopefully on that call, then I can get their timelines, their expectations, and so forth from there. But call answer rates are very low today. So my immediate out-of-the-gate call plan, and I know that this wasn't what your question is or was, Bennett, for those that are looking to sell quicker, but I wanted to break this down just in case it's helpful, because you're going to have a smaller percent that are ready to rock and roll sooner, right? And then you're going to have a bigger percent that are longer down the road, which we'll get into that. So then from there, my call tasking campaign is day one, then every other day for the first 14 days, then every 21 days for the first year, and that is only until I get them on the phone. have a conversation with them. I know what their goals are. I know what their timelines are. I know what their expectations are. I know where they're going. I have all of that information. Then from there, based on, okay, whether they're less than 6 months out, or they're 6 to 12 months out, or 12 months or greater out, that then dictates my follow-up plan going forward. So to your question, and obviously the sooner that they're looking at selling, the more frequent my reach outs are to them. Then from there, with that initial CMA report, one thing that I do that I found to be effective, and again, one thing that we always got to be asking ourselves is, how do we differentiate ourselves from everybody else inside of our market? So if everybody else is sending, most people are just sending these lame instant CMAs. And to your point, again, I already talked about this. I forgot to bring up this point though, is number one, that people have those resources. It's so easy and quick for them to go get them, and they've probably already been playing on those websites. Number two, when we have those inaccuracies, as you said here, Bennett, and for all of you that are watching and listening, again, as Bennett said here, it reflects poorly on us. I leveraged instant CMAs very heavily when they first became a big thing years and years and years ago, and I put myself in some bad positions. And what I mean by this is, okay, just imagine this scenario, because I've been in it and it sucks. Okay, you get a listing presentation, you're sitting down, everything's going great, you go through your CMA, you go through, all of that, you give your professional recommended list price, and then all of a sudden they look at you and they're like, well, wait a minute. Last week, we got an email from you saying our house was worth $50,000 more than you are telling us today. So then now I got to backtrack. I got my foot in my mouth. I've dug a hole, and I got to backtrack and tell them how that was an instant valuation, how that didn't actually come from me, right? And that looks like either one of two things, and both are a huge negative. Either it looks like a bait and switch, or it looks like I am, a non-professional, right? Like either way, it reflects very negatively on me. So I have found an extremely effective way, a much more effective way of a workaround around this, which I'll talk to you about here in a moment as I'm answering your question, Bennett. But in addition to sending the CMA, because again, I'm looking to differentiate myself. So I send them the CMA, but as a bonus added value, I then also send them my staging report. So here's all the steps that we walk through that we recommend of how to prep your home to get how to prep your home in order to get top dollar. When you're listing your home, it's our staging guide that like when I get a listing, I go through that staging guide with them. We go room by room. So we send that to them with the CMA, so they get an extra added value benefit. And that's walking through room by room, front of the house, back of the house, the garage, room by room, teach them, walk them through what to declutter. There's checklists, there's all of that stuff to help them get their house looking at its absolute best to ensure they get top dollar if and when they list their property, right? So that's an extra value add differentiator, right? In an extra appreciation point. So then, with these follow-ups, I've already differentiated myself. I've already given them something of value that nobody else has given them, whether they work with me or not, right? And that becomes powerful, right? That sets me as apart from my competitors, sets me up as a true professional, sets me up as better expertise when I walk them through with that, right? Creates more rapport, creates more trust. All of those things become important. Okay, so then let's go specifically to your question here of, okay, what are you doing, for these seller leads that are longer out? Okay, so number one, I have them on a call tasking campaign. Sorry, I was just checking my notes here because I want to make sure I don't leave anything out here with my process. All right, so I got them on a call tasking campaign where I call them every 6 months at a minimum. So it's going to task me in my CRM to follow up with them every 6 months. And those are just check-in calls because like if somebody's like, oh yeah, probably 2 years out, and I'm checking every 6 months, okay, well, I'm not going to check in on those calls. I know what their timeline is. Those are just checking, hey, how are you doing? How's the family doing? These are just connection and rapport calls. And then, of course, I'll circle back with, hey, I know that, you're about a year out from last time that we talked about wanting to sell your property. Just want to see in the meantime if you had any questions about the real estate market, what's going on, anything real estate related or not, to see if there's anything I can do to serve, support, and help, right? So I have those 6-month check-in calls at a minimum. The reason why I say at a minimum is on those calls, I am looking for other reasons as to why to maybe follow up before that. So an example of this, because again, my purpose here is rapport and connection building with these calls. So maybe they tell me they're going on vacation next week. Maybe they're taking the family to Hawaii next week, whatever. Okay, well, then I might set a task in my calendar for the 21 days from 3 weeks from now to follow up with them, Hey, Bennett, what's up? Joshua Smith here at my home group. Just want to reach out, check in, see how you're doing. Hey, man, I know that you and the family just went on that vacation, dude. I've been so excited since last time we talked to hear how it went. Tell me about it. How'd it go? Right? So these are just rapport connection calls. Rapport connection calls. You guys got to understand that rapport and connection is the most important element when it comes to sales. If you don't have rapport, people won't listen to you. If they don't listen to you, you can never establish yourself as the trusted professional, right? Like, it doesn't even matter if they see you as a trusted professional. If you break rapport, boom, that relationship is lost, man. So rapport, connection, rapport, connection. Yes, I want to establish that I'm a professional. All those things are going to happen throughout this process, but that's the reason and frequency for those check-in calls. Okay, so then from there, how I get around that instant CMA that you're talking about, that's going out, that's inaccurate, and all over the place. And look, yeah, sometimes they can be accurate, but for the most part, they are inaccurate. We can't control the data that's being sent out on there. Like you said in your question here, Bennett, a lot of times the property information is wrong about the house itself, and whatnot there. Then from there, so instead of sending those out, once a month, or instead of having to go through the hassle and the pain of running a manual CMA every single month, which would take forever, what's the purpose of doing that if they're not looking at selling for a year? Like, why am I sending them a CMA every single month? Now, if somebody requests it and wants it, okay, cool. If they ask for an updated one, that's a different thing. But I'm not going to take that time to manually go do that stuff. It's way too time consuming and it's just ineffective. So here's what I do inside my CRM. So I go into Perfect Storm because it connects with the MLS. So if you don't have a CRM that does this, you can also do this just through the MLS. But I like to have everything in one system. It's easier, quicker. Plus I can track it, what they're seeing, what they're opening, all in one centralized system. All right, so then what I do is I set them up on a property alert search. I call it a reverse property alert search, right? So I set them up on, like with buyer clients, what are we doing? We're setting them up on instant property alerts for anything that meets their criteria. The second it comes available, boom, it's emailed to them in their email box of, hey, here's a property that we think you'd be interested in. Click here, take a look, right? So for sellers, what I do is I build those same things out, but I set the frequency. So I go into Perfect Storm, I set the frequency to only be sent once a month. And I have only send sold properties. So they're getting a report once a month with any sold properties within that monthly time frame that are apples to their homes. Like that, I'd be using for a comparable. So their home's, 2,600 square feet, maybe it's 2,200 square feet up to 3,200 square feet. So it's like a, 4 or 5, depending on how many comps and how many, homes are selling in their market in their area, right? So just like I'd be running comps, right? So it's going to be close, if it's a 2-story, I'm going to be sending another 2 stories. If it's a, whatever that looks like. And again, all markets are different. So I'm just speaking to Arizona here, my market in Phoenix, which Bennett, we're in the same market there. So, but again, I'm running a search that, again, these are comps I'd be including in a CMA. But every single month, these are emailed to them, a sold report. That then what this does, it gives them an idea of is selling on the market that's similar to their property. And they can see all the photos, they can see the price that it's sold at, they can see all of that. So it allows them to keep a pulse on the marketplace without me committing to a value. Right. And then from there, because I'm coming through my CM, okay, I can see when they've opened it, I can see when they've read it, I can see which properties they viewed, I can see those things, right? So that's what I send them instead of doing an instant property alert. Okay, so then from there, I then send a series of mass emails. So now I send these mass emails to everybody in my database. So all my leads, all my clients, all my past clients, everybody. But only one of these is real estate related, right? So again, I'm working on that connection, keeping on that rapport. What is the name of the game of real estate, right? We got to play the game of real estate. The name of the game is get people to know you, like you, trust you, be aware of what you do for a living, follow it frequently, and it'll keep your message in front of them frequently. Your business continues to grow. So these mass emails, it's I go into my CRM, I select all my lead, every contact in my system with the energy and effort of typing up one email, then boom, I can blast this out with the energy of one email to 90,000 people, right? So on these mass emails, here's what I'm sending. So holiday emails. So there's 7 major holidays here, at least in the States, that I'm sending these out for. So that ends up being or maybe there's more than 7. I mean, we got Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving. No, I guess there would be 7, right? Then we got, what am I missing here? If, you guys know what they are, right? So all the Easter, Halloween, all those major holidays, right? So that ends up being 7 of those going out. So just over, about every other month they're getting those holiday messages and those holiday emails. Just to give you guys some advice there. Send them out the morning of the holiday. Most people, what do? Okay, like it's like Christmas, for Christmas Day, they send out the last business day before these go out. Well, schedule it. You don't need to, like I can go in Perfect Storm. I can schedule it to go out on Christmas morning at this time. So like I like to send mine out around 8 or 9 a.m. on the morning of the holidays. And why? Because they're checking their phones, they're checking their emails. They are the highest open rates I get out of any emails that I send, and the most replied to, because everybody else is flooding them the last business day because they're off on the holiday, so they don't want to send those things out, right? So it ensures then that we're, again, differentiating ourselves, we're getting open, we're getting seen, and I don't have, like, it's coming from my email, my business email address, so they can see that. It's got my business email signature, so they can see that. But it's just hey their name. Just want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas. Hope you have a great holiday. Have an image, of the graphic of the holiday in there. Sincerely, your realtor Joshua Smith, email signature, right? So I don't talk about real estate on there. It's just a holiday email. Okay, so then from there, I also do a Monday motivation message. Hey, hope you had a great, happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. As always, I like to start the week off right with some words of motivation. Boom, include the motivation, whatever the quote is, image link, and I get, some people don't like those, but that's my personality. It's my style. And I get a lot of positive feedback from my clients, and get a lot of business from those Monday motivation emails. So they got once a week going out Monday motivation emails. They got 7 holiday emails. Then monthly, I do a monthly video market update about what's going on overall in the market. So hey, here's what's going on. What's it right now? So it's May 2023 Phoenix Metro housing update. Here's what's going on in the market right now as of May 2023. Right. So it's just an in-depth update overall of the market. Now it's not an update of their neighborhood. Right, it's just an update of the overall market. So between the sold properties that they're getting, the monthly video market updates that they're getting, well, that ends up being 5.5 emails on average that they're getting a monthly basis. Plus they're getting my phone calls. Plus they're getting the monthly emails with the sold properties going out. Okay, then from there, if I'm able to, if we've had good phone call conversations, or if I'm able to, I will hunt them down on social media and I'll connect with them on social media, primarily Facebook and Instagram. Then from there, we have our posting strategies on there, like our 80-20 rule, where it's 80% personal, 20% business. So we're planting the seeds, and we're really leveraging that as our social CRMs, right? So leveraging those, and I have other podcasts on that, so you can go check those out. All right, so then you mentioned, okay, a lot of these people are also looking to go out there and buy. If they're also looking to buy, I'll find out and identify, what that next dream home would be, what their ideal criteria is for that, and I'll also set them up on instant property alerts for that as well, so they can start seeing those. Then the last thing that I do is I retarget with Facebook ads, paid Facebook ads. So I'm going to run awareness style ads. So these are going to be reach and video view ads, because they're already in your database. So I'll just export that database, upload that into a Facebook custom audience. And these style ads do cost you, like, you can get 5-cent through plays, which means, paying 5 cents for people to watch 15 plus seconds of a video, right? Reach ads. I mean, these are like pennies on the dollar to go out there and run. It costs very little money to go out there and do these. You can do big damage with a couple bucks a day. But with these retargeting Facebook ads, these are social proof style ads. So these are going to be, client testimonials, just listed, under contracts, just sold. Also market updates, any kind of community update videos that you're doing if you're doing those. But testimonials, all of that ends up being huge. So this is, it's a non-aggressive. A lot of this stuff, like I said, isn't real estate related. We're just continuing to show up, continue to check in, continue to develop that connection and rapport, right? Because we'll get people to know us, like us, trust us, know us, like us, and even that trust component comes down from that connection and rapport. And now trust is connection rapport, plus obviously establishing ourselves as the professional in the marketplace, which we're doing through monthly video market updates, through other things that we're doing out there, plus the social proof that we're sending out there. But that is how I get around those instant CMAs, plus develop those long-term connections. So if and when that long-term rapport stay front of mind, because if I'm doing this right, especially if I get them connected with me on social media, it's like they're not going a couple days without seeing my stuff. Like they get to the point where they're just indoctrinated with my stuff, seeing my stuff everywhere, right? So I'm staying front of mind. Through that, hopefully I'm becoming that trusted advisor, developing that connection, developing that rapport, again, to know me, like me, trust me, and they're being aware of what I do, constantly keeping my message in front of them, right? So I'm playing the game through these different strategies here. All right, so anyway, Ben, I hope that you found this helpful, and those watching and listening, I hope that you found this helpful as well. Truly appreciate all your support. Truly appreciate you guys listening. Again, make sure to check out GSDMode.com for more additional free trainings and resources. I highly recommend that you snag that ebook, and then I also highly recommend, even more so than that ebook, well, I recommend both. There's no reason not to do both because they're both 100% free, is to jump on my 6 fundamental steps to 3xing or more your real estate business in the next 12 months. What that training is around, it's a 3-hour in-depth masterclass, 100% free, game-changing training. And what I'm walking you through there is really how to shift and adapt through any given market. So it's 6 steps of how to 3x your real estate business in the next 12 months, regardless of the marketplace. So boom, bust, crash, anything in between. So whether we're in tight inventory situations, whether it's seller's market, buyer's market, whether it's a market crash or a market boom, how you can continue to adapt. Because for real estate professionals, one thing that's important for us to always remember is that our job are to understand and know that there is no such thing as a good market, no such thing as a bad market. The market is always good for somebody. We then must identify whom the market is currently good for, pivot, shift, adapt, and adjust accordingly with our marketing, with our prospecting, with our messaging to whom that market is good for. Real estate is always trade hands, always has, always will continue to do so. It is those, though, that cannot shift and adapt to those changes that ends up struggling, ends up becoming extinct. As of right now in 2023, as of me creating this podcast, it's been very interesting. I talked to, it's like half the real estate conversations that I'm having with agents reaching out to me right now, or team leaders or broker owners, are struggling like they never struggled before, because of transaction volume decline and just some of the overall shifts and low inventory and all of this stuff that we're seeing right now, and higher interest rates and the worst affordability that we've ever seen in the real estate market. But then the other half that I'm talking to are having their best year ever. Right? It's like, okay, with my team, my teammates, my coaching clients, man, we're having the best years that we've ever had. Well, why? Because we've adapted accordingly. You got to make sure you're shifting and adapting accordingly. That's what that training is all about. I promise you, if you register, if you show up, if you pay attention, if you take detailed notes, plus I give you the slide deck as a resource guide to help you go out there and implement on everything that you learn. And if you never signed up for my mentorship or coaching or more advanced stuff, that training right there, if you just execute on what you learn in that training, you will go out there and murder it inside your real estate business. Anyway, again, thank you guys so much. Truly appreciate you. Keep crushing it, and we will talk to you soon. Peace.